In 2015, Google partnered with Chinese OEM Huawei to create an ultra-premium high-end successor to Google's 2014 reference device, the Motorola Nexus 6. The Nexus 6P is a large metal phablet with powerful internals. That same year, emerging Chinese manufacturer OnePlus launched the OnePlus 2, its highly anticipated follow-up to its original flagship killer, the OnePlus One. So how do these phones compare in this battle of Chinese Android phablets? How's it going, everybody? This is Matt D, and this is Nexus 6P versus OnePlus 2. Starting with the Google Nexus 6P, Huawei's 2015 Android reference device is constructed of a premium-feeling metal body that packs some powerful internal components. Looking at the phone's exterior, Huawei's included a standard-issue 3.5mm headphone jack at the top of the device. Moving around the sides of the phone, you'll find the Nexus 6P's power button and volume rocker on the right-hand side of the phone. On the left-hand side of the 2015 Nexus flagship, there's just a nano SIM tray. In terms of speaker placement, the Nexus 6P features front-firing speakers that flank the phone's 5.7-inch display. Finally, at the bottom, Huawei's included a USB Type-C charging port. Moving on to the OnePlus 2, the overall layout of OnePlus's second flagship bears some similarities to that of Huawei's Nexus 6P. The phone has a 3.5mm auxiliary port at the top, while OnePlus placed the phone's power button and volume rocker on its right side. On the left-hand side, you'll see OnePlus's trademark alert slider that controls how the phone receives notifications. At the bottom of the OnePlus 2, the device charges via USB Type-C while there's one speaker adjacent to that port. Although both of the phones are powered by non-removable batteries, the OnePlus 2 comes with a removable backplate in the sandstone texture that OnePlus is known for. Underneath this backplate, there's a dual SIM tray. However, unlike the OnePlus X, the OnePlus 2 cannot support microSD cards. One interesting thing to note about the OnePlus 2 is that OnePlus offers a set of swappable backplates. In an effort to allow owners of the OnePlus 2 to customize their devices, OnePlus sells backplates in bamboo, Kevlar, black apricot, and rosewood textures. Huawei's entry in the Nexus line is powered by a Qualcomm Snapdragon 810 system on a chip coupled with an Adreno 430 GPU. In addition to that, the 6P allows for plenty of multitasking with its 3GB of RAM. As for internal storage, the phone's available from Google in 32, 64, and 128GB storage configurations. The unit you're seeing in this video is the 32GB variant. As for connectivity, the Nexus 6P is capable of running on LTE, GSM, and CDMA mobile networks throughout the world. Aside from the universal cellular connectivity, the Nexus 6P offers the usual array of additional wireless connections such as advanced Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, GPS, and NFC. Looking at the Nexus 6P's camera hardware, the 2015 Nexus flagship features a 12.3-megapixel sensor housed in the so-called visor on the rear of the device above the phone's Nexus imprint fingerprint scanner. On the front, the Nexus 6P has an 8-megapixel camera for those of you who are looking to step up your selfie game. Like the Nexus 6P, the OnePlus 2 is powered by the controversial Qualcomm Snapdragon 810 system on a chip. That processor is backed up by an Adreno 430 GPU and 4GB of RAM, something almost unheard of at the time of the OnePlus 2's release. The unit you're seeing in this video has 64GB of built-in fixed storage. While the Nexus 6P is universally compatible with LTE, GSM, and CDMA wireless networks, the OnePlus 2 does not offer CDMA connectivity. However, one of the most controversial issues with the OnePlus 2 is the phone's lack of near-field communication. So, unlike the Nexus 6P, the OnePlus 2 will not have support for mobile payments via Android Pay. Huawei's Google Nexus phablet sports a 5.7-inch Quad HD AMOLED display manufactured by Samsung, packing a pixel density of 518 ppi. Like any AMOLED panel, the display on the 6P produces images with vibrant, punchy, saturated colors contrasting with deep blacks. On the other hand, the OnePlus 2 boasts a 5.5-inch LCD display at a resolution of 1080p and a pixel density of 401 ppi. While the OnePlus 2's display only produces a resolution of 1080p, I don't mind the fact that the phone's display is not on the bleeding edge in comparison to the flagships of 2016. The 1080p panel on the phone, coupled with the OnePlus 2's 3300 mAh battery, allows for better battery life. Looking at the software on the two phones, we're comparing the all-new Android 7.0 Nougat on the Nexus 6P versus Android 6.0.1 Marshmallow on the OnePlus 2. While Android Marshmallow introduced Google Now on tap, the DOE's battery-saving feature, and user-defined app permissions, Android 7.0 Nougat adds a variety of new features to Google's mobile operating system on the Nexus 6P. First up is the redesigned notification shade. With one swipe down from the top of the screen, you'll have access to a small set of quick toggles including Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, invert colors, Do Not Disturb, and mobile data. A second swipe down will display redesigned app notifications that span the entire width of the screen. With Android Nougat, the user can finally reply to notifications from certain apps directly from the notification shade. Finally, with a third swipe, the standard Android quick toggles will show up, this time with a second panel to house additional toggle switches. The next big addition to Google's latest iteration of Android is a new multi-window feature similar to what can be found on Samsung and LG's latest flagship phones. While this is a great addition to larger phones like the 6P and 2014's Nexus 6, I can't see myself using this feature on the smaller Nexus 5X. In addition to the split-screen multitasking feature, a double tap on the recent apps key will take you back to your previously opened app. Through the Android 7.0 update, Google has enhanced the Doze battery conservation feature through Doze on the Go, which will allow the Nexus 6P to operate in a low power mode while the phone is asleep in your pocket. In addition to the redesigned notification shade, the multitasking features, and Doze on the Go, Google has added a large collection of new emojis into the keyboard. Under the hood, Android Nougat offers support for the new Vulkan API for better in-game graphics, as well as Daydream, which will enhance the VR experience on select upcoming Android devices. Those are just the main highlights of Android Nougat, but if I have time I'll do a separate video discussing Android 7.0 in more detail. As I've mentioned in my previous videos on the Nexus 6P, the stock Android operating system has a set of hidden features in the settings menu that can be uncovered through the settings cog in the notification shade. The hidden System UI tuner allows the user to modify numerous aspects of the user interface. For example, the System UI tuner allows the user to configure and rearrange the quick toggles that appear in the notification shade. In addition to customizing the aforementioned quick toggles, there's another section in the System UI tuner that allows the user to dictate what notification icons can and cannot appear in the status bar. Finally, the System UI tuner includes a demo mode, but again, this feature is really only useful when putting the 6P on display in a retail setting. Next, in the sound and notification section of the settings menu, there's a pulse notification light toggle that allows the user to enable a hidden notification LED. The OnePlus 2 runs on OnePlus's own Android skin called Oxygen OS, running atop Android 6.0.1 Marshmallow. At first glance, Oxygen OS closely resembles the look and feel of stock Android. The UI is mostly the same except for a few additions such as Shelf at the leftmost home screen. Shelf is a customizable space that displays the weather as well as widgets, frequent apps, and contacts. While Shelf doesn't currently offer much functionality, I do believe it has a lot of potential. Another highlight of Oxygen OS is OnePlus's own take on app permissions, allowing the user to determine what apps can and cannot access certain pieces of information stored on the phone. One feature unique to the OnePlus 2 is the phone's ability to switch between the phone's hardware navigation keys and the stock Android soft keys that appear on screen. On top of that, Oxygen OS provides other notable customizations like the ability to change accent colors in the settings menu in a system-wide dark mode, which is ideal for using the phone in the dark as well as conserving battery usage. In terms of overall performance, both the Nexus 6P and the OnePlus 2 handled everyday tasks and constantly switching between apps without a problem. Since both of these devices are powered by the infamous Snapdragon 810 system on a chip by Qualcomm, many of you may be wondering if either one of these devices has overheated after extended periods of gameplay. After playing numerous games on both devices, my Nexus 6P has gotten much warmer than my OnePlus 2. On the back of the Nexus 6P, there's a 12.3 megapixel sensor with an aperture of f2.0, laser autofocus, and a dual LED flash. However, the rear sensor on the Nexus 6P is not optically stabilized. Switching over to the Nexus 6P's front-facing camera, the phone's secondary shooter features an 8 megapixel sensor with an aperture of f2.4, while it can shoot video in up to 1080p resolution. In terms of camera software, the Nexus 6P's cameras operate in tandem with the official Google Camera app. This stock camera app by Google offers the panorama, photosphere, and lens blur features that have become commonplace in Android smartphone cameras over the past few years. The rear shooter on the OnePlus 2 is a 13 megapixel sensor with optical image stabilization, laser autofocus, and an aperture of f2.0. The phone's rear camera can also shoot video in up to 4K resolution. As for the OnePlus 2's front-facing camera, it has a 5 megapixel sensor with an aperture of f2.4 while it'll shoot video in up to 1080p. Visually, the Oxygen OS camera app on the OnePlus 2 is similar to the stock Android camera app, while OnePlus's own camera app offers much more functionality. While both camera apps offer panorama and slow motion options, the OnePlus 2's camera software offers a manual shooting mode, allowing the user to adjust white balance, exposure, ISO, focus, and shutter speeds, along with other useful camera tweaks. Here's some pictures taken using the front and rear cameras on both phones. Overall, the Huawei Nexus 6P and the OnePlus 2 are both Chinese flagship smartphones that offer the latest and greatest in Android hardware. Both phones include fingerprint scanners allowing for biometric security. If you're looking for a phone that runs stock Android and is first in line for software updates directly from Google, then of course go with the Nexus 6P. On the other hand, if you're looking for an Android phone running on powerful internals without breaking the bank, you should consider the OnePlus 2. Just bear in mind that you won't be able to take advantage of mobile payment services with OnePlus's flagship phone from 2015. In the early fall of 2016, the 64GB OnePlus 2 is available at oneplus.net for the price of $299, no invite required. That's $200 less than the 32GB Nexus 6P directly from Google. As always, if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up down below and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.